and welcome to this 8th lesson in Biblical Hebrew. Today we're going to talk about one subject only, and that's the Daghesh, which is the dot that you see in all sorts of letters. And there are two sorts of Daghesh. There's the weak Daghesh and the strong Daghesh. So that's what this video is going to explain. If you cast your mind back to the first lesson when we were learning how to write the consonants of the Hebrew alphabet, you'll remember that there were some letters that take a dot, and these were Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Kaf, Pei, and Tau. Without the dot in, they are aspirated. So Beth is pronounced as a V, Gimel is pronounced as a R, Daleth is pronounced as a th, Kaf is pronounced like the Scottish loch, Pei is pronounced as an F, and Tau is pronounced as a hard th, as in theatre. If you put a dot into each of these, it hardens the letter. So Beth becomes a hard B sound, as in bed. Gimel becomes a hard G. Daleth becomes a hard D, as in dog. Kaf becomes a hard K sound. Pei becomes a hard P. And Tau becomes a hard T. This little dot is called Daghesh. And every time you have a dot in a letter, it is called Daghesh. But this dot doesn't just denote when an aspirated letter is hard. It does other things as well. This particular type of dot is called a weak Daghesh. Sometimes it's called Daghesh Lene, but weak Daghesh is what we will call it. But Daghesh can also come in a strong form, and it's called strong Daghesh. What a strong Daghesh does when it appears in a letter is it doubles the letter. So let's take this word, kitel. You'll see that the teth has a Daghesh in it, and teth is not one of the letters which has a soft pronunciation. So what is this Daghesh doing? Well, effectively, it's telling us that there are two letters there. If we were to write the word out in full, it would look like this. But that doesn't look very good, and it's far easier to take these two letters and join them together so that you end up with just the one with a Daghesh in it. Now let's think a little bit about how you actually pronounce this, and to help us with this I'm going to use an example from English. In the UK we do like our fish and chips, and one of the names that we use for the place where we buy our fish and chips is this, the fish shop. And note how I pronounced that. I didn't pronounce it as two separate words, fish shop, but neither did I join the two words together completely if I'd removed the first bit and then joined that to that and said fish shop. What I said was fish shop. So the sh sound, you sit on it. Fish shop. It's doubled. And that's what a Daghesh forte or strong Daghesh does with the letters in Hebrew. It doubles it, but you don't stop the letter as you're pronouncing it. So to go back to our little word there, kitel. Not kitel, but kitel. We rest on that middle letter so that it's thicker, if you like. There are three reasons why a Daghesh forte is used. Let's have a look at these two words, min and Shaul. Min has this ending nun, and when it's joined to another word, the nun disappears. So you end up with the me being joined onto Shaul, and we write that with a Daghesh forte in the letter next to where it goes. This dot denotes that there is a missing letter, only it's not the shin that's there, the nun that was here. So we effectively sit on the shin, so it's mishaul instead of mishaul. Mishaul. So it has the same effect. It doubles the letter, but it's doing it for a different reason. The next use of a strong Daghesh is because it's characteristic of particular forms. So particular verb forms, like this one, always take a strong Daghesh in the middle letter. And that doubles the middle letter. So this is Bikesh. And again, you can hear the doubling, but it's there because that is how this particular verb form works. The final reason for using a Daghesh forte is so that it makes it easier to pronounce a word. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples just to show you how that works. In our previous video, when we were looking at how Karmets and Karmets Khatuf are affected by where the accent occurs, I showed you this word, Vayakom, and you'll remember that this is Karmets Khatuf because it's a closed, unaccented syllable, and this is a Karmets, a long A sound, because it's an open syllable. This vowel here, the pathach, the short A, this really wants to have a closed syllable, and there isn't a letter available to make that happen. So we pop a strong Daghesh in there in order to make it easier to say, Vayakom. This sort of strong Daghesh happens quite a lot at the beginning of a word when you have the conjunction or the definite article at the beginning of the word. In this next example, you have a Daghesh which is both a weak and a strong Daghesh at the same time. If we take the two words min and kol, as with min sha'ul, which became mish sha'ul, min and kol, if you put them together, you lose the nun. And that looks like this. Mikol. And so what's happened here is that the Daghesh here is a soft Daghesh because it's in a kaf, making the kaf a hard kaf. But it also is a strong Daghesh because it represents the nun that has disappeared from min. So it doubles the kaf again, but it also serves to show that it's a hard kaf and not a soft kaf. So mikol. There are some letters that cannot take a Daghesh, a strong Daghesh. These are the gutturals and reish. When that happens, it has a similar effect to the makef on a syllable with a short vowel. If you have min and ish, and you want to join the min to the ish and lose the nun, in theory, you end up with a word that looks like this. What you'd want to do is to put a Daghesh in the aleph, but because aleph is a guttural, it can't take a Daghesh. So what you have to do is you have to adjust the short vowel because this being an open syllable, it would normally take a longer vowel. And so what we do is we lengthen the hirek into a tsere. So it becomes me-ish. So let's just sum up. There are two types of Daghesh. The weak Daghesh, which applies to the letters Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Kaf, Pei and Tau, and the strong Daghesh, which doubles a letter for one of three reasons. Either because there's a letter missing, or because it's part of a verb form that always has a double letter in it, or because it makes it easier to pronounce. But if there's a guttural there, or a resh, which can't take a Daghesh forte, then adjustments have to take place in the preceding vowel. So there you have it. It's a very small sign, but it's a very important one. And so we need to think very carefully about what sort of Daghesh we have in front of us when we're reading our Hebrew.